So good morning, guys. It is Monday, the 16th of April, 2018. This is the DAX morning briefing. You have to excuse me if you're listening to this video at home. I'm a little bit under the weather from last week, still a bit congested, a bit throaty from the cold that's been going around at the moment. So apologise if I don't sound quite as normal as I would do normally. Okay, so we had a busy week last week. As far as trying to understand what was going on in the markets, a lot of stuff happened over the weekend. I'm not going to go into much detail on that or give my own personal opinions on it, but you've obviously been catching up on news yourselves, I'm sure. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at the last couple of days of price action. So we're going to look at Thursday and Friday and have a look at some of the tools that we use in the premium channels to try and apply them to price action over the last couple of days. And we'll try and congest it all, combine it all together. So we won't go into as much detail as we might normally because we've got a couple of days to tackle. We'll then take a look at a brief outlook for today as well. First things first, just make sure that people are aware the software that I'm using is Sierra Charts. So if you're watching this on the YouTube channel below and you want to invest in your own version of this, you can have a look at the links below here. But it's premium software. I did have to buy a license for this. I bought 12 months. And I just think it's great. I use this on a server, a VPS, and it's really lightweight, really high performance, excellent engineering, probably one of the best ones out there in my opinion, as well as NinjaTrader 8, which is also very good. Okay, so let's get started then. So we've got the 12th of April here, and I'm just going to press play just to kind of get a few more ticks going here. And the first thing that I've spotted there is the fact that we were starting to consolidate in this little zone. And if you kind of zoom in a little bit more, you actually more specifically had this little zone here, creating this little drive, this support line here. And after we created this initial impulse leg higher, I marked out that particular spot as the interesting pivot because that was the low, the most recent sort of significant low. It's probably a minor swing, really, that was worth marking out. So I was going to use that as some form of pivot. So I was going to look for see how price action reacted here. And as it got to this level here, started to consolidate again, created this mini flag. And I thought to myself, is that likely to turn out to be some kind of zigzag, i.e. a balance point, i.e. something that when you get an impulse leg, you get a mini consolidation wave followed by a second leg higher. And that creates this zigzag shape. And they're normally about even. So you've got that impulse leg, mini reaction leg, that impulse leg, and they're normally a similar sort of length, these two here. So you can kind of mark that out with basic tools. Fibonacci retracement tool will give you this, and just put a 50% line somewhere through the middle of that, and you're looking for price to extend. You could even use a Fibonacci extension tool, which would be looking something like this. You sort of draw your first leg there, draw your mini high, pull your extension down to wherever the retracement is, and it would suggest somewhere up there. That kind of idea. But I'm going to use this tool for now and see how that plays out. If this does actually work out to be a high, then that might be a second pivot. Okay, it does look like to be a high here. So you can start marking these pivots out. So this will be where everything sort of started. That's your ignition point. That'll be your first pivot. That's potentially your second one because it's now created a higher high. And so it confirms that as a low. So you sort of see where this one begins to top out. And it tops out pretty much on this balance point line. So that was interesting. We'll see whether or not it goes any higher than that shortly. But if it does work out to be there, that will be a nice third pivot. And we're just looking for now a retracement to form our fourth pivot. And let's see if we actually get a lower here. As soon as it takes out number 3, we've confirmed the low. I think that's the end of the 12th there. So we're going to be moving into the following day, the 13th. There we go. All right. So we've already taken out number 3. It confirms this low as the next low. And so that gets me interested. And I think this was something I posted out in the channels, that when you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 pivot set up like this, and this is just basic swing play. What I mean is you create your first low. The tool was just being a bit slow. First low, there's your high. That's your higher low. That's confirmed once that is taken out, and that was taken out on this impulse leg here, which we managed to forecast based on a basic balance point zigzag here. And once you've got that retracement, that low is confirmed once this one is taken out. It's just basic swing play. And what you would then be able to do is to pull, and now I use this terminology a lot, ACR line set. And now Sierra Charts, I've configured it so it actually produces this particular tool. It's effectively just a center line with equidistant lines either side of it. You can just do parallels however you want, but just measure the distance between the center line and each one. This tool just does it automatically because that's quite time consuming. So you might need to try and find a way to configure that on your own charting platform if you don't already have it. Otherwise, you've just got to do it manually. To do it manually, draw a center line from pivot 1 through pivot 4. Then take a parallel line and take that back to the first pivot, which is down there at 0. And then measure the distance between that line and that line. And then draw a second parallel, the same distance on the other side. Now, I'll be honest, I can't be bothered to do that. So I'm just going to do the tool and it will do it for me. So that's where the second line would form. And that's a forecast. If you take a 1-4 ACR line set, which is the short name for this, and pull it back to the first one, it forecasts where pivot 5 could well form. And that provides us with a couple of options. We can either go long to that target area, or we can look at putting in an order to go short somewhere in that target area if it gets there. Now, you can be a bit more specific with these lines if you want to. What I mean by that is you can go in and snap the lines exactly to the specific ticks of the lines. It's probably worth doing that for accuracy, but it doesn't really make much difference, to be fair. You're looking for a rough idea. But, being accurate is also very good as an analyst. So I'm just going to make that a bit more accurate and just make sure that I've got the numbers roughly what we were sort of playing with on Friday, somewhere around there. I think 500 to 520 is the zone that we marked out and talked about. So we'll see how price continues to play with that in mind. So we've got a high there. That sort of worries you. It creates a mini double top, but it gets zoomed. Just looking at the price action here, I didn't really want to go into too much detail, but that was interesting. That wide range bar, especially after you had that, it looked like that was going to form a double top, especially when we had a bit of failure here. But then taking it out was quite significant, especially as it held it. So that was an area of interest that we were watching from last week. And look at that. Look at that. So my first instinct here was to short it, but I didn't. And I was looking for a different strategy to confirm a short, which didn't come for me. But, just looking at the analysis what we posted in the channel, I mean, that would have been the opportunity to get in. And even if you didn't get long there, you could have posted an order on a retest of that spike there. And let's just assume that if that situation came up again, we did that particular action. Let's just mark that out. What's that? 522. So I don't know. Let's go for a 15-point high, something like that, which is about 2 ATR, 2 average true range of this particular chart, which is a 250 tick chart. The average true range is about 7.5 points. So 2 times ATR is 15 points. So 15 points above the most recent high is not a bad idea once you get a retest of this zone. So somewhere in there. And you want to get 4 to 1 really, because it's a counter trend trade. Simple fact is you're fading the highs. It's going up. Why would you want to be shorting it? So you're fading it. Get 4 to 1, not 3 to 1. I will just be upfront here. Trading financial markets is risky. It involves the risk of losing your invested money. It carries a significant level of risk. We're not providing any financial advice here. This is for educational purposes only. If you do decide to make any trades off the back of any information we provide here or any of the tools that we're showing in these videos, you'll need to do so entirely at your own risk. Okay, so you could just go, if you were using this tool as an example, and put in an order there. And let me just make sure I've got these brackets set up. Let's go with that. And that. Just tidying this up. Give me 1 second. It's probably going to be about 35 points, something like that. I know I'm talking out loud to myself, and that's might be a bit strange, but just kind of get my thought process out. Because if I just put in what would it be? That would be a sell limit order. To put a stop loss in there. Well, it's not far away from where the targets would be. So we're looking at an order somewhere in there. And it's around about 4 to 1. If we get a retest, it might not. It might just shoot past it and you've missed the opportunity. And, that would have been the sign. That wide range, not that wide range bar, but that little spike in that zone starts to form this structure that you see at the top of the pivot. So we'll see whether or not it would work out. So you let it play on, it does turn around. Okay, it comes back, gets filled, takes a third or fourth attempt. Doesn't look great when it starts doing that. It starts to continue its trend. But this particular reaction leg here is definitely very nice for the trade, for the simple fact that it started to move. So you probably put your stop loss down to break even and watch it to see whether it plays out. Now, it gets a little bit busy around here at the moment with all these lines, but we'll try and tidy it up shortly. So I'm just going to remove that for now, just to get that off the board. And zoom out a little bit, and we'll just watch this play out for the moment. So the thing of interest is just to watch the center line, see whether or not we get another reaction there as price comes through. So what we're either looking for is a bounce from that line or a zoom through that line. That's often what tends to happen, but we'll see. That's pretty much the answer to the question. So we've got a pretty clear zoom through that line. It would have hit the target that you had pointed out, so that was 80 points, quite nice. Even if you're just trading a simple FDAX mini contracts, 400 euros, it's not bad. And from here, you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, we've just zoomed through that median line, so often what would happen is it's going to head back down towards the reaction line. So we'll see whether it plays out. Comes back to test the underside. Wow, look at that. Wow, look at that. Okay, so two things to note on this. The first one is that the price action has come down to pretty much tag the initial line. So that line's still valid. But if we just look to the left of this point, actually, let me just mark that out. The previous low right there. That area of consolidation. So that low is quite interesting because it's pivot 4. Yeah, that is quite interesting. And the next thing that I kind of spotted is that we almost gapped back past that median line. So some very, very simple tools when you look at them like that, but they can be incredibly effective when you're doing them live, and you can do this stuff live. There is enough time to get onto this. So that was what I wanted to go through and show. A very, very interesting setup and opportunity to, first of all, forecast where price would look to top out, and then create the opposite reaction leg, and it manages to forecast it the other way around as well. So basic geometry, it's all it is. You don't need fancy indicators, you just need basic line play, and it's great when it follows it. So that's that. For today, there's a couple of things to wonder about, and the first one is this gap. For two things. The most obvious thing to wonder about is whether or not that gap's going to close. I've given up trying to predict whether gaps close or not. It's a negative expected value play. So I think I'd just rather put in an order somewhere down to buy rather than actually play a sell through it. So I'd rather just put in an order to buy it there. So if it does come through, then you can turn it around. Or just wait for price to continue to move higher. I've kind of not worried too much about this. On a Monday, I don't care about playing gaps. I really don't. But the bit that was interesting me is whether or not we can use one of the sides of the gap to forecast some sort of balance point. So for example, that if you use the lower part of the gap, you're forecasting a balance point up here, looking for a potential zone up here. Or do you use the other side of the gap, which would provide us some sort of forecast up there? Still within this ACR line set, so it's not unrealistic, but we will be needing to take out the previous highs, continuing a bullish trend. So we'll see. So that's one thing that looks interesting. Now I'm going to start from this and work backwards. So one thing to be aware of with the profiles here is that we've got quite a lot of low volume nodes directly underneath us here. But in order to get to those low volume zones, should I say, rather than nodes, we've got a particular high volume value area here from Friday with a POC around about 450, 440, somewhere around there on CFD's prices. Might be a bit different on futures. So we're kind of trading at the top end of the value area from Friday at the moment. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a retracement down to 450 and then maybe look to sort of build from there. As far as closing the gap is concerned, I don't know what we need to do to get rid of that. Well, I mean, it pretty much ties in the same number. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get a gap close because there was low volume from there or lower volume from there from Friday, and that was where our value area was most happy to do business. That was when price was most happy. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get there. If we drop below, then it's interesting because we're into the value area from Thursday and there are quite a few low volume zones. Big high volume area here from Tuesday. So plenty of support, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. So getting a dive towards this level, I think something significant would have to happen for that for us to see those levels. And I appreciate that doesn't sound great if you are bearish, but this is only my thought. All right, let's have a look at we'll go for this one. 20-minute chart. Keep things simple. Whenever you're not sure of what to do, keep things simple. Go back to the basics. Draw out your basic swings. So we're starting back here from somewhere in the 26th, 27th of March. That's the low. Since then, we've made higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, HL, so on and so on and so on. We've created a new high here that confirmed this higher low. So we're looking for a low to form. And eventually, we're going to need to expect for that high to be taken out. And if it doesn't, we've got to change your behavior. It's that simple. It's currently based on that. It's currently bullish. So if you're looking to go long, 3 to 1. If you're looking to go short, 4 to 1. And keep things simple. Too early to say whether or not that's a failure to take out that high. I think it's probably going to look to draw some strength from value area that we just discussed. And if it fails to then take it out, it's probably a bit more significant. Strategy, we're at the moment inside the bands, nothing really too interesting to talk about, so we will skip that and leave that for the channels. But that is pretty much my thought process so far. And that is it. So I'm going to go and rest my voice a little bit and get myself sorted to see if there's any opportunities to go and trade on the other markets. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on at the moment. I've built quite a few different indicators and bits and pieces for the strategies that we use. So I'm really excited about that. Been testing it just on a very, very basic demo account at the moment. I'm very, very excited to say that that is ready to go. I'm just sorting out a license manager for that at the moment. We've got courses being built for cryptocurrency trading. Well, not even trading. It's more so much understanding blockchain, the fundamentals of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology and the use cases of blockchain technology and the future of blockchain technology and so on and so on. Really just understanding what this stuff is, how cryptography works, understanding your basics about your wallets, your mempools, your unspent transaction outputs, the Bitcoin blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain, all that kind of stuff. We're going to go through all that. We've also got swing trading course that's being rebuilt. We've got programming and coding course that's being rebuilt. So we'll go from scratch and understand everything about coding and learn to build your own indicators, expert advisors, and scripts. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to rest my voice and get cracking on through more of that. And of course, we've got Forex as well to do. So if you want more information, come and join us. If you've got any questions, now's the time because we've only got a couple of minutes left on the room. So Chitra, hello Chitra. Thanks, Chris. No problem. You're welcome. Nice to see you here. Krista, thanks. That was very interesting. Thanks, Krista. Yeah, there's it's swing trading. There's some really, really great stuff in swing trading. And there is a lot to get your head around, especially if you're new to some of the techniques. But we've all got to learn at some point. The goal here is to try and just keep things simple and just try and analyze, use our analysis skill to understand what's happened. If you can understand what's happened, you can start to forecast things. But thanks for joining us again. So yeah, a couple of new faces here today. Hello guys, welcome along. And obviously most of you are regulars. So hello again. Hope you all had a good weekend. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording up. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a great trading day. I'll see you again here tomorrow. Take care.